recording? Okay, cool. So this lab is called implementing basic connectivity. Okay, so we got three objectives to complete. Part one, perform a basic configuration on switch 1 and switch 2. Part 2, configure the PCs. And part 3, configure the switch management interface. Okay, so we're going to use a couple of the commands, show command. We're going to use some pings, right? We're going to go through the OSI model, layer 2, layer 3, do some show commands, confirm configuration, and go from there. Okay, so again, you guys have this lab. I'm just going step by step so you guys see it, right? So again, part 1, this is where we're going to start, and we're going to perform the basic configuration on switch 1 and switch 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with switch 1. All right, let me go ahead and I'll put it in the corner. That's fine. Hopefully you guys can see it. If you guys need me to blow up the font, I can. So let's go ahead and first step is to go ahead and configure the switch 1 with a host name. Okay, so let me go ahead and back out of this, right? And if you guys remember from the last session, right, there's different modes, right, that we flip through, right? Currently now, when we immediately log into a switch, we are in user exec mode, okay? We need to go ahead to make changes, get into privilege exec mode. So let's go ahead, hop in, and to get there, we type the command enable, okay? So that's how we got to enable mode, or to keep it simple, to get to the pound sign, okay? That's how you can tell the difference between user exec mode and privilege exec mode, okay? So let's go ahead and to make this change on the switch, we need to actually get to global configuration mode. Why is that? Because we're making a global change, right? System change to the device. So let's go ahead. If you guys remember, we are going to get to configure terminal. That brings us to global configuration mode, okay? And to go ahead and change that host name, we go ahead and just type the command. But first things first, I'm going to show you guys the best ruling possible. Go ahead and do the question mark if you don't know the command and see what's available to you. Okay, so the command is right there, host name, and you can see, right, confirm it right here by the description of that command. Set systems network name, right? So that's the definition of how that macro works. Okay, let's go ahead and type in, and of course, we need to go ahead and give it a host name of S1 per the directions of the lab. Go ahead and type it in. See that change? Perfect. Okay. What's next? Right. We need to go ahead and configure a console password and an encrypted privilege exec mode password. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Give me 1 second. Sorry, folks, I'm just answering a message. I'm multitasking myself. Give me 1 moment. Okay, perfect. All right, let me go ahead and put that right there. 1 second. All right, cool. All right, now that that's done, let's go ahead. So back to where we was at. I believe we was at step 2, and I will go ahead and configure the console password first. To do that, I need to get to line console mode. So first, we can look at this, right? Configuring terminal line, right? We're going to go to the line. You guys will learn about lines soon enough. Type line and see what's available to us, right? So we have, of course, the different type of line, and of course we have the virtual terminal, what have you. you probably would have you. So first I'm going to do the console. That's what the directions are telling me. We're going to put 0. Okay. So after doing that, I need to go ahead and set that password. Okay. And so with doing that, all you have to do, whoops, that. All you have to do is go ahead and do a question mark. Let's take a look to see if it gives us that option. Set a password. Cool. We're going to go ahead and set that password. And it's telling us to go ahead and it doesn't tell us specifically to set encrypted or unencrypted. I'm going to do it unencrypted just for this lab or what have you. So I'm going to set it as Cisco. Keep it simple. And we're going to go ahead and leave this, right? We're also going to go ahead and set a password for privilege exec mode, right? So we are going to go ahead and since we know to get to privilege exec mode is to go ahead and put enable, we're going to go ahead and type enable and type, of course, password, right? We're going to go ahead and type a password, right? So what's the next option, right? We are going to we're going to go ahead and set a unencrypted password as well, right? Make it simple, right? We're going to call it class. That's what the lab is telling us. No other options? Perfect, right? So let's go ahead and verify our configuration, right? Do a show run. Take a look. Of course, password is here. Set here, we see that. We don't have the service password encryption. I'll go over that in a little bit. But we have all that here, right? And we also have the password that we set on the console, okay? And we'll test that with you, okay? So let's go ahead and test it. If I go into user exec mode, type in enable, what's the password, right? So I need to go ahead and type in the password that I set, which is class, boom, perfect. So we're there, okay? And, you know, with that, right, people log in, right, using Antoine's example, right? We want to go ahead and make sure we put in a message that people know that, hey, if you log it in, we need to go ahead and put a banner out there to let you know, hey, this is our device. If you try to do anything wonky, we're letting you know that we let you know that you are going against the law, right? So how do we do that, right? So there is an option to go ahead and set what they call a banner, okay? So here we see here, define a login banner, right? Of course, you're going to see it. First thing you'll see as soon as you log into the device, okay? So let's go ahead and do it. Banner. Message of the day banner. And perfect. All right, so we're going to go ahead and set what it's saying, okay? So keep it simple. We will keep what they say. Authorized access only. And let's do that. Violators will be prosecuted. Oops. Did I spell that wrong? Prosecuted to the full extent of the law. There we go. Okay, perfect. So now let's verify our config. Show run. Look. Go down. All right. So give me 1 second. Let's go ahead and log out and let's see what's going on. Okay. All right. So we see it a little bit. Let's go ahead and troubleshoot, make some fixes. Let's hop on in. There we go. And take a look, see how I did it. There we go. All right. And let's take a look. See what happens. All right. And let's paste it. See what happens. And whoops, that was fun. Let me go ahead and go back up there and pull that. There we go. Okay. There we go. All right. Let's see if this works, folks. Okay. Whoops. That happened. I can shut this off by Control Shift 6. If I ever do that by accident. All right, let's go ahead and exit. Nah, still messed up. Let's try to fix this. Go ahead and log in. Bothers me, you know. Banner of the day. Let's see what happens if we just type it. Authorize access only violators will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Ah, okay. All right. You might be onto something. All right, let's okay. Okay. And what if we do this? Copy. Okay. Let's try it. Ah, humbug. Where is? All right. We'll come back to that. I'm not gonna go ahead and drive on that. So let's check our config, the changes we made so far. We changed the host name. We changed the enable password to go ahead and get into privileged exec mode. Of course, we see the banner now. We go ahead and we'll fix that later up. Somebody remind me, please. And we also changed the password to log in via the console. Okay. So now that that's done, we need to go ahead and has the last step part of this doing this basic configuration is to go ahead and save the config to the NVRAM, right? The NVRAM is where your starting config sits on your Cisco device. Okay. So to go ahead and do that, we're going to do a copy running config, right? Which is running config sitting in your flash. We're going to save it to the NVRAM, right? Where your starting config goes in and sit. Once we press that, we can change the file name. I just left it the same, and that's done. Now there is another command, right? Right memory. We can go ahead and do that, and that'll save the config as well, right? Little tidbit here and there. Okay. So now that we did switch 1, we're going to do the same thing on switch 2. Okay. All right. Same steps. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go a little bit quicker for you guys. Host name switch 2. Okay. And we are going to go ahead and, again, follow the same steps. Set a console password. We're going to go to the line for the console. Okay. Set the password, right? I'm going to set it as Cisco. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Then we're going to set the enable password. Okay. Set that. That's good. And All right, we're not going to do the message of the day. All right, and we are going to go ahead and save that config. Okay, we're going to confirm our config. Perfect. Got the host name, enable password, and we have the password for the console. Perfect. All right, so we're good. So now we are going to go ahead and configure the PCs. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, jump on PC 1. Okay, and this is how the PC looks on Packet Tracer, right? You have plenty of options, right? IP configuration, right? Set up wireless, right? Great thing about Packet Tracer with this new update, you can do a whole bunch more things, right? You can do interacting with a controller, what have you. So it's a whole bunch of things you can do. But we're going to stick to keeping it basic for now, okay? So we click on PC 1, right? We're going to, change the IP addressing for this, right? And we are going to go ahead and set this, right, statically, right? Set this as, right? Because that's what we have in our lab layout, right? It tells us what to assign the IP address has, okay? Assign that we don't have a default gateway, okay? We're just gonna set it as such, okay? So we're just gonna give it IP address and a subnet mask. Once that's in there, we clear it out, right? And so we're going to do the same thing for PC2, okay? So let's go ahead and minimize this. Go to PC2, okay? And per the table that the lab shares, we're going to give it a 192.168.1.2, okay? And of course, Packet Tracer goes ahead and say, hey, we're going to keep it classifiable and put you in a class C. We'll talk about different classes and IP addressing and RFC 1918 at a later date, okay? So once we got that configured, okay, now let's go ahead and go to the command line and do some testing on PC1 to see if I can reach PC2, okay? So let me pull this up and put PC1, all right? And let's try to ping, okay? We're gonna try to ping PC2 first, all right? 1.2, cool. We got successful pings, right? It looks good, right? Can we ping the management interface of switch 1, right? Let's give that a try. See if we're successful or not, okay? Right? So it's failing, right? Why is it failing, okay? Let's go ahead and go to switch 1 and see why is it failing, right? My favorite thing to do is go to look at configs and see what we're missing, okay? Right? And so if we run show run, right? Looking at show run and we see it, I don't see any IP addressing anywhere, right? And so this is a good precursor to go ahead and jump into the next part of this session, right? Which is part 3, which is we're going to go ahead and configure the switch management interface, right? And so I know you guys work in production environments, and typically there is a management interface, right? Well, back in the day, right, or by default, right, the management interface, how Cisco would call it, would be VLAN 1. You would set an IP address there, set an IP address there, unshut the port. It will be enabled once you do that. Once you enable the port, unshut it in Cisco technical terms, because again, each downlink port or each port by default is in VLAN 1, right? So let's go ahead and fix this. Let's go ahead and assign the IP address to switch 1 and switch 2. So switch 1 has 192.168.1.253 for the VLAN 1 interface. Switch 2 has 192.168.1.254. So let's go ahead and configure that, right? So again, we're making changes to the system. So we need to go to global configuration mode, okay? We're gonna go to config terminal, and we need to get to this interface, right? VLAN 1, or the management interface in this sense. We're going to VLAN 1, okay? We're gonna set the IP address, right? I said it was 192.168.1.253. Give it a subnet, okay? And we'll talk about this at a later date. Don't, harp too much on, IP addressing, subnets, CIDR, prefixes, whatever. I don't want you to, get too crazy off that. We're still in the beginning of the book. All right, we're going to enable the port by doing a no shutdown because we see it is shut down currently. Okay, so us doing a no shutdown, enable the port, and you see automatically jumps up. Okay, so we're going to exit. Okay, and so we're going to do the same thing on switch 2. Okay, go ahead, switch 2, same thing, right? They don't have that configuration. So let's go to global configuration to make those changes to the system. Get to the VLAN interface. And okay. And let me, is it 254? Yeah, switch to is 254. Sorry, folks, had to verify. 255.0, perfect. Whoops, and I forgot address. Apologies. Let's do a no shut. There we go. And now it is enabled, right? But how do we verify, right? Outside of going to our configuration and checking to see if what we configured is, is up and running and is operating at layer 2 and layer 1, right? And of course, us seeing the IP address shows us that layer 3 is working, right? There's a command, you guys can take note of it. We can do a show IP interface brief, right? It's going to give us a list of all interfaces, okay, and give us some parameters, okay? And I'll go over those parameters in one moment, okay? And you guys may need to take note because I know the CCNA, it actually gives you some show commands, right, to decipher, okay? So first part of the show IP interface command is going to give you, right, one column is going to give you the interface, one is going to give you the IP address, right? One is going to do, it's basically a interface check to say, is it okay? Is it good? You see yes, that means it's okay, right? If you see anything else, it means it's not okay, okay? And so method is telling you, hey, is this set, is the IP address or anything that's configured on it, is it manually configured, right? Or did it obtain maybe an IP address dynamically, right? And it'll say DHCP there, okay? Status, right? Status and protocol, these are my two favorite ones, okay? And so status, right, stands for layer 1. Protocol stands for layer 2. That's it, right? We'll go in depth later on, but whenever you enter this command, status, layer 1, protocol, layer 2, right? There's some instances where this will be up, that will be down. That means you got something going on at layer 2, maybe being blocked, maybe there's something going on via layer 2 protocol where it's not allowing to communicate on the wire, right? Or to encapsulate packets to get onto the wire. So there's something going on, but this is up, right? But it would never be, this will be up. I'm sorry, that line protocol or layer 2 will be up and this will be down. Impossible. Either this will be up, this will be up, or this will be up, this will be down, or this will be down, and this will be down. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you guys took note of that. Very important thing to know, okay? And as we can see, right, getting back to the lab, VLAN 1 has a configuration of the IP address that we configured, and layer 1 and layer 2 is up, right? And assuming, of course, layer 3 is working because, again, we have an IP address set there, okay? And so after we make those changes, right, every time we make a change, right, and we are comfortable, right, has admins, has engineers, specialists, what have you, that we made this change, and this is going to be a change for our environment. Let's go ahead and save that config. Again, I like write memory. You can use copy, run, start, however you like. Okay, and let's do the same for switch 2. Guys, any questions? Feel free to stop me at any point. I have no problem answering it. Perfect. All right. So there we go, right? So now that we have IP addressing everywhere, right? If we go ahead and go back to PC1, right? We were testing connectivity, testing connectivity via layer 3 using ICMP, or pings to see if it can ping this address, which is, of course, which one's address. Let's see if we can reach it. Okay. All right. So perfect. All right. So you guys are probably wondering, hey, why did the first one fail? Right. So we just added, right, this IP address to the network, right? So, and of course, I'll show you guys later on about what ARP is, GARP, right? Well, I'll teach you guys about that, and we'll learn about broadcast messages. But basically, this PC had to, yell out into the wild and say, "Who is this?" Right? And in that amount of time that it had to do that, right? It's how ICMP works on a PC. If it doesn't get a response back in time, that request is going to time out. That doesn't mean that the other requests are going to time out. Maybe it just needed some time to communicate with that destination. Okay, and so I bet you if we ping it again, all four it's going to be 100% successful, right? And we're going to have zero loss, right? So this is basic connectivity, right? And hopefully, if you guys do this lab, you won't run into some issues. Please take your time. You can look into your book because, again, this lab, it's not really going to tell you how to do a lot of things per the directions. So feel free to use some Google Foo. Feel free to look in the book. And just feel free to ask questions. You guys have access to myself. You guys can talk amongst each other if something makes sense. And that's it. So hopefully, and we've been at it for like roughly 30 minutes now, 30, 40 minutes now. Hopefully all of this made sense. And you guys enjoy. Tomorrow we're doing another lab, and then Thursday we'll be back at theory. Okay? Well, that's it for today. You guys have a good day.